Hey, good evening. I'm really happy to have you here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're going to be listening to Dan Vasc perform The Last Goodbye from The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. So this was a Patreon request from Christy Muck and Christy Urash, and I really appreciate both of you for recommending this to me, and I am so excited to jump into this. I really enjoy listening to Dan, but also the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. There's something really mystifying about it. Something I really enjoy about the Lord of the Rings is just the world building itself. It's honestly such a masterclass in world building, and I think world building is just a pinnacle piece of storytelling as a whole. And I obviously adore storytelling, and I try to take with me that detailed, vivid imagery that really good storytelling can possess, and take that with me in music to really bring the music to life, not just what's written on the page, but actually creating something mystical, creating a real fantastical realm where everybody is experiencing the magic and nuance of the world together. There's something really beautiful about that. And therefore, I just love the music of The Lord of the Rings. So with that said, I'm really excited to hear how Dan tackles this. Dan is also an extremely expressive artist, and I'm sure he's going to do this song justice, but I can't know for sure until I jump into it. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited as well. So without any further delay, let's jump into it.
I saw the light fade from the sky. On the wind I heard a sigh. As the snowflakes cover my fallen brothers, I will say this last goodbye.
Just that entire opening is just so majestic, dude. Like, first, you start off not with this necessarily hushed or whispered type of tone. He's still fully vocalizing, but at this very gentle, this very benign piano, or just soft volume. But it's still so well supported because he wouldn't be able to generate consistent vibrato without that kind of support. So that's just really wonderful. And just like let's listen to the way he structures his consonants here.
I saw the light fade from the sky.
Yeah. Just in that first instance, I saw the light. And the T in light isn't even crisp. It's hardly even audible if it's even placed there at all, because that's just how delicate this is. Adding something really crisp like a T at the end of light would, in a sense, model this otherwise extremely light and delicate phrase.
I saw the light fade from the sky. On the wind I heard a sigh.
Yeah, same thing with heard. You don't really get that D, it's not crisp. It's just so intentional and lovely, beautiful for this world building.
On the wind I heard a sigh. As the snowflakes cover my fallen brothers, I will say this last goodbye.
And just the fact he holds on to that N and lets it ride through the phrase.
Snowflakes cover my fallen brothers, I will say this last goodbye.
Oh my gosh, chills.
Night is now falling.
Beautiful.
So ends this day. The road is now calling, and I must wait.
And just how he holds on to that M just a little longer than what would be even acceptable. And I and just holding on to that M before letting it blossom out into must wait. Oh, it's just an emphasis on the lyrics themselves, yes, but just in terms of how we internalize that in our bodies, just must wait. Oh, it's just having that double meaning of both using it in the lyrics themselves of must wait, but also just feeling that blossoming of the flower, that lotus just rising through the mud and unveiling its purity. It's just so lovely, man.
The road is now calling, and I must wait.
Yeah.
Over hill and under tree, through lands where never light
Oh,
shone.
you hear that crescendo? It's so small. It's not like he's going from a piano to a forte or a soft to a loud volume. It's more like a piano to barely into mezzo piano territory or medium soft territory. Like,
Through lands where never light has shone.
yeah.
By silver streams that run down to the sea.
Oh, he's so delicate.
Under cloud,
Oh,
beneath the stars, over snow and winter's morn.
oh, do you guys just hear this? Like, do you hear this? Just in terms of, there's so much strength and support underneath this delicate veneer that he's put on. It's like it's like you take Dwayne Johnson and put him into this most elegant, beautiful wedding dress with this very delicate veneer veil, and you have this extremely solid foundation underneath the elegance and majesty that is The Rock. That's not my best example, but I digress. It's just so wonderful.
Over snow and winter's morn.
I'm sorry for pausing so much, but just hearing when he incorporates the vibrato after the straight tone, so much control, and it just feels so right.
Over snow and winter's morn. I turn alas to paths that lead home, and though where the road then takes me,
Yeah.
I cannot tell. We came all this way, but now comes the day to bid you farewell.
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, first off, his dynamic control and the fact that we can feel the ebb and flow of the volume of the dynamics themselves without it really creeping even into mezzo forte territory, even though we kind of get to that point at some points. The idea of it is just that he's playing within this mezzo piano range, and we're feeling that contrast. It doesn't feel stagnant in that way at all. It's just constantly flowing and shifting, and I love that in music. I don't feel like I'm just sitting in one place. I'm moving with him. I'm flowing to his cadential style, and it's just so lovely, dude. And especially in this chorus part here, where you have ba da 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 da, and each time you just get those lift-offs, and you're just existing up in that space before he resumes the line, and then you're just up in that space again before he finishes the cadence. Oh my gosh, his voice just takes you on this beautiful journey, and it's just so controlled that you don't feel any pressure, you don't feel any tension, not just in his body, but just in your personal experience of the music. You're just floating with him and then being captured by him again as he's guiding you firmly yet gently through this landscape that he's creating. Oh, love it, dude.
To bid you farewell. Many places I been, many sorrows I have seen, but I won't regret, nor will I forget all who took that road with me. Night is now falling, so ends this day.
Yes.
The road is now calling, and I...
Just how that one's a little bit different than the other ones, where it's instead of and I, where you just feel that soft, cool nature with his natural warm resonance, but now it feels a little bit more focused through the center of his mask, a little bit more forward, just in terms of and I. It has a little bit more substance to it, and you can just feel the difference as the song constantly progresses. You feel the emotional shift just constantly in motion, and it's all intentional, and it's just lovely, dude. This is exactly what I want to hear from an artist. The constant movement of the piece in terms of the dynamics, in terms of how the phrases are being executed, in terms of the placement in the breath, in the voice itself, and in the facial expression, in the body. There's just so much happening, and he's really executing on all of these fronts extraordinarily well.
Ends this day. The road is now calling, and I must away. Over hill and under tree, through lands where never light has shone.
Yeah.
By silver streams that run down to the sea.
Oh, and just look at his mouth position during C. C is very commonly a very bright kind of vowel, E, where you're stretching it into a smile. But for him, it's more round. It's a little bit darker. C, instead of C, C. You add a little bit more darkness to that vowel in order to not just create the kind of atmosphere you want for the piece, but in terms of the breath and how that breath is being focused through that vowel, through that tongue position that you're making, and through your lips that you're making in order to form that exact vowel, that exact atmospheric sound that you're generating with the vowel. So I just love that choice. I love that it's not overly bright, that it does fit within the tonal center of the piece.
To this memories I will hold, with a blessing I will go.
Yes.
To turn the lights to paths that lead home. And though I don't
Yes, and that's exactly what I was alluding to in my post-analysis of the first reaction, just in terms of when we have sentences that we speak, there's natural pauses that we create, whether it be through commas or periods or semicolons, etc., where you just have natural pauses in the sentence so you can pick it up. But for here, music can be a little bit more playful in terms of how we structure our musical sentences. So in places where you would naturally end the line, breathe, and then resume the following line, he connects them, and it just feels like we're transitioning over into a new musical phrase. He's still not going to make us feel any tension or have any tension himself by breathing in this deep breath because he's expending everything. He took a very calculated breath beforehand, allowed himself to generate the sound throughout the entirety of the musical sentence and into the next musical sentence to breathe at some point within the next sentence, so we can experience that bridge, that arc that carries us into the next sentence. And that's a really lovely choice. It lets us just further emphasize and recognize that flow, that intrinsic flow of the piece. It's so, so wonderfully done. Yes.
We came all this way, but now comes the day to bid you farewell. I bid you all a very fond farewell.
Ah, just lovely. Like, don't get me wrong, I know the piece itself is very poignant and cathartic to some degree, but at the same time, it's just the execution of the piece is just so lovely, and the way that he structures the music itself is just superb. Like, he understands the emotional pith of the piece, and he doesn't stray too far from it. He just showcases this beautiful, intrinsic flow of the piece, and he's very methodical as to where he wants to place certain stresses of the piece in terms of, I need this sentence to carry over into the next sentence by breathing here and breathing here, and I know that I can sustain the music for this amount of time while making it sound like I'm not gasping for air. Even within those phrases, especially in those phrases, there aren't any quick breaths or breaths that you take rapidly in order to resume a sentence, but he just understands the music. He understands not only where to breathe, but how to execute the breath in the body, how to spin that breath into his beautiful vibrato that's so consistent, so natural. It flows beautifully, and he just built this world wonderfully. Typically, when people perform songs from especially films that are masterclasses in world building, like The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings franchise, you have to do your part and world build. And the world building isn't solely expressed through the cinematography of the films. It's expressed through the music, through the characters. And if you can demonstrate that without the film and show everybody that you can build the same world through the music, through the emotional core presented through that music, then I think you're doing an outstanding job. Storytelling through music is not forgotten, but should be more recognized, in my opinion, because storytelling is just so captivating. We see it in multiple forms of media, whether it's a parent reading their child a good night story, through anime or cartoons, through Korean dramas, or or any show, essentially. And it not only is incorporated into almost every single culture on the planet, but it just transcends all of these things. We're so hypnotized by the way stories are presented to us. Yes, the stories themselves obviously matter, but in the way that a person expresses a certain story to us just completely enthralls and captivates us and just keeps us so interested, especially if there's a certain flow to it that doesn't make us feel bored or stagnant, but we just feel the pulse of the piece. I love it so much. Dan, man, dude. Great job, man. I love feeling your vibe. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If y'all liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you didn't like it, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments. I do read all of the comments, even if I may not heart or reply to them, so please know your comments do not go unnoticed. I want to take this time to appreciate all of you for being here watching these videos. This channel and nothing would be what it is without you guys, so I'm deeply appreciative for all of you watching these videos, so thank you so much. And I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.